How do you get someone to plant a tree and then not be bored until the fruit comes? Because I mean, like 2 years, I can see, I'd be really excited about it. I plant it, I water it, it starts to grow, I'm happy. And then after a year, I'm like, oh, gotta wait a
Yeah.
whole nother year for fruit. And then, like
Yeah.
I would guess this between the first and second years, if it takes 2 years, would be probably the toughest. But what do you see?
Well, yeah, what I see is that the people who, like, again, I wrote my book, Grow Fruit Trees Fast, so that people could read it fast. You read it in an hour and you see what's involved. So people who know what's involved are kind of excited about the different stages, just like you have a baby. And it's not like, okay, kid, look, hurry up and grow up because I want to be able to play checkers with you. And right now you can't even, figure out how to move your fingers, right? So every stage in growing a fruit tree can be interesting, and especially since when you are growing a fruit tree strategically so that it will produce a healthy and abundant harvest, you're actually pruning it from the first year that you planted. So pruning is like sculpting a tree. It's like creating a sculpture, and it's actually very creative. There is a strategy and a skill behind it. So people like me, and maybe I'm just weird, we get excited about the pruning season, and we get excited about watching how the tree reacts to the pruning. We get excited when we see the baby fruit starting to form. But here, the problem is for the first 2 years, we delicately pick it off, all that baby fruit, so that the tree can then put its energy into its root system rather than pushing
Oh,
out
really?
fruit for us. Yeah. So for the first 2 years, you're saying, okay, I'm going to sacrifice my
Huh.
need to have like instant gratification so that my tree will be healthy and establish itself. Because I could pick the fruit for the first 2 years and then have a weak tree for the next 15 years or 20 years. Or I can give it the love and attention it needs in the early years and have a tree that could live 50 years or 100 years, depending on the kind of tree that I plant.
Maybe this is getting nerdy, but is there software where you could kind of input how many branches you have and how thick they are and map out the tree and then have like the computer would tell you where to prune to make sure to maximize the tree's, growth properly? Maybe it's getting, again, crazy or nerdy, but and then on such a thing.
No, it's not nerdy. And is there software? I don't think so, but we become human software. So in the same way that when you are a sculptor, you kind of have to look at your, I don't know, piece of clay and clump of clay and you see what you need. There actually is a strategy, Richard, and it's so simple, but you just need to learn it. So it takes, 2 hours maybe to learn. I can teach somebody in 2 hours how to prune, and then they go out and they look at the tree, and each time they prune, they're reinforcing those lessons. It's really quite simple. You're creating a structure, a strong fruit-bearing structure for the tree. And essentially, the central leader type of pruning that I do, you want your tree to look like a Christmas tree with a strong central branch and branches that go out to the side, longer at the bottom, shorter at the top. But there's little tricks. You want room in between the branches for air circulation. So it's not even that complicated. It's just practice. And the results are very beautiful. Just to look at the tree when it's blossoming, when it's fully leafed out, and of course when it's fruiting. So it's beautiful, but it's also a really productive and useful way to be growing your trees.
Yeah, I think you'd have to step back from the tree over and over and look. Oh, okay. Over there. I don't know.
Absolutely.
It's like a
Yeah.
gigantic bonsai.
Yes. Yes. And actually, with regards to gigantic, smaller trees are easier to take care of. They're easier to harvest. And if you prune at the right time of year, you can keep your tree compact. And if you get the right tree, it's all, there's all these little factors. So I understand why you're saying, a computer program, because in a way it would be useful. You could type into the program and say, look, I want a tree because I have a small yard. I want a tree that's going to stay compact, that's going to produce this type of taste of fruit, that's going to be disease resistant. So not going to get every disease in the book. So, and I want to, have it this kind of structure. And then the computer would come out with, okay, you need this type of rootstock, which will determine the mature tree size, and this type of scion wood, which is the top of the tree, the fruiting part of the tree. And, whereas Honeycrisp is not disease resistant, there are trees, apple trees like Liberty or Freedom, which people don't know about, which are disease resistant. So the humans are the computers. People who've done this for a long time, we know, what to match up together in order to customize a tree so that it is easier to grow for the grower. And again, it's not rocket science. It's something that we can teach easily.